honey, you've been an astronomer your entire life and you're just now getting to see a total eclipse. Like as if this should have been on my docket the day before I graduated or something.
It took your breath for a minute.
Yeah, I was like, and then I was like, oh my God, this is really happening. And before I knew it was over, it was sad. This is crazy. This is so nuts.
I'm Leticia Ferrer.
And I'm Chris Alexander.
And this is Totality Talks, the solar eclipse podcast.
It just took my breath away, the whole thing. It's really cool that you can see the corona and you see the sun kind of spewing out from behind the moon. It literally took our breath away.
A lot of people said overrated, but that was like one of the coolest things I've ever seen.
Not overrated.
Welcome back to Totality Talks. In this episode, we continue to bask in the afterglow of the 2024 total eclipse. We have an interesting virgin no more this time around as we chat with an astrophysicist that saw her first total solar eclipse on April the 8th. We have physics and astronomy professor from Dallas College Richland Campus, Dr. Heather Appleby. We jump right into our conversation with Heather.
Well, welcome, Heather.
Yeah.
Howdy, how are you doing?
So Heather, this is Chris Chotas Alexander. He's my co-host.
Howdy.
Nice to meet you, Chris.
Good to meet you. Yeah.
This will be part of our 14th episode. We're trying to line up eclipse virgins that are virgins no more.
That would be me.
And I'm going to just say a couple of things about Heather. Heather is a professor and the Dallas College system. She has actually an astronomy professor, and this was her first total solar eclipse.
Awesome.
So we want to hear how it was for her. I just want to say she did so much work getting everybody prepared for it. The Dallas College system had all campuses had eclipse events. Yeah. There were 2 sessions to train local teachers on how to teach the eclipse.
I think we had a total of 7 different sessions.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I was only involved with 2 then.
Yeah, you were there on 2 of them at the end. We actually started, though, our first session was in September.
Wow. Great.
Yeah. And we did 1 in September, 2 October, 1 November. We skipped December, 1 in January, 2 in February.
Yep. No, wait a minute.
Yeah,
it was the
2
one
in February. Yeah. That's right. Yeah. So, yeah, we did. I'm really happy with what we did with the teachers. I thought that was really important.
I thought it was too. And I was very happy that we did see a lot of school districts get classes and were able to have events for their children. Some closed, and I won't name names, but some of them closed, but a lot of them took the time to get trained and have a safe eclipse for their students.
Right. And a lot of the school districts that did close, such as Ennis, it to me totally made sense. I mean, a town of 23,000 with 200,000 people coming in, they don't have enough restaurants to feed everybody during the Bluebonnet Festival, which I think was last weekend. It's like, how the hell are they going to have, how are they going to feed 200,000 people? I mean, it's like, and then I mentioned that to a colleague of mine, and his response was, they'll just go to the town next door. I'm like, dude, they're in the middle of the flood, 60 miles in any direction, and you're still in the flood of people.
It is. They were right 60 miles either way. They were center line. They were center line.
Exactly. I was going to say, I was really excited whenever I saw on the news, and I forget which school district it was. Was it Carrollton Farmers Branch, or was it it wasn't Irving? But anyway, one of the school districts, in the North Texas region, somewhat close to DFW Airport, and they were talking about how they had decided to make a day of it, and they were going to have all the kids go outside with viewers so they could safely view it, and they had activities to go along with it. Now, they did say, what was it, like first grade and kindergarten, maybe, or something like that, they were going to keep inside, but they were going to let them watch the NASA live stream. And it was the concern was those kids were just so young that trying to keep them from staring would be difficult, which I can understand. I'm not, it wasn't, in my opinion, the ideal situation, but at least they didn't say, you're going to stay inside and we're not going to let you watch it, not even on NASA.
Yeah.
So at least they got to see the live stream, but the fact that they had the majority of the kids actually outside and watching it live, I thought was fantastic. And talking about how the parents were allowed to join them. And like I said, it was activities surrounding it as well, both in the classroom as well as outside. And I thought that was just fabulous.
Yeah. That's great. I heard one teacher said, how can we keep them from staring at the sun? We can't even keep them from picking their noses. Like really the young ones.
But kids don't stare at the sun. Like, kids do not stare at the sun.
Yeah, neither do dogs.
I
It's
know.
like, how do I protect my dog? It's like, well, you don't have to.
You don't have to. They're smart enough. They're not going to stare at the sun.
Well, and that was one of the things that I remember, specifically addressing during our teacher training. And you might even remember, I don't remember if you were in the room at the time I would go over it, but I'm like, really, if you just explain to them that they don't have any nerves in their eye on the retina. And so staring at the sun, you can stare yourself blind without the smallest bit of discomfort. It's not that hard to explain it to a kindergartner and have them understand it at an appropriate level and for them to make the choice. Okay, I now understand what's going to happen if I do this and how I'm not going to feel any pain from it and how it's permanent damage that I don't want to deal with. They're going to choose to comply. I mean, take the risk and lower it.
Well, the thing is, the way is that I started it with the fact is I asked the kids, and I had some second graders, how many of you stare at the sun? And they go, Right. They were all going, no, we don't do that.
Right.
And because if you look at the sun and it's too bright, you blink and look away.
Right.
It's a normal human response.
It is, though. I will admit, and this kind of freaked me out when I learned about it. I was informed at my campus on the day of the eclipse, or during the eclipse. Actually, we apparently had a guest on campus. It was no one that I knew, so it was not a campus native. And they were walking around and in a authoritarian type voice, like like they knew what they were talking about. We're telling people that it was perfectly okay to look at the sun without the eclipse viewers at any point during the eclipse. And when apparently someone said, well, how do you make sure you don't go blind? And he said, oh, well, as soon as it starts to hurt, look away. I'm like, it's not going to hurt.
Person.
I mean, unless you're a sensitive person who, the nerves around your eyes that are trying to change your pupil and change the amount of light you're getting, unless you're one of those people like me, you're not going to feel any pain. And so it just freaked me out. And like I said, this person was walking around and he was speaking with authority, like he knew what he was talking about. And I thought it especially humorous when right before Totality, I figured out who he was because there's this man who walks up, he's acting all like he knows what he's talking about. And he's like, he's in charge and whatever. And he's got his phone in his hand, right? And he's looking at it. He turns to me, he goes, it's 90 seconds until Totality. And I'm looking up going, yeah, dude, I'll believe it when I see it. I didn't say anything. But I'm just like, seriously, you're going to tell an astronomer when it's going to be Totality? And I got the phone right there that's going to tell me? I mean, really? Again, I didn't say anything out loud, but just the fact that someone was taking that attitude and clearly had no purpose doing so, it really bothered me because it's like, now that means that I could be, thankfully we had enough people who got the word out, don't do that. And so I don't think anyone listened to him, but still it was like, seriously.
There was a lot of, I was watching some of the TikTok videos of people who saw the eclipse. And some of them were fantastic. And then some of them were just out crazy. Some of them were just, like this one, oh no, the eclipse is coming. I'm scared. I'm like, oh.
Yeah. And every time I hear about those, because it's TikTok, the first thing, I'm sorry, that goes through my mind is how much of that is acting.
It is. A lot of it is. They're just looking for viewers. They're just looking for
exactly.
Viewers. Anyway, but we're off topic. The one thing I want to ask you.
Are we? because, we are talking about teachable moments and a lot of misinformation that's been consumed and spread probably more than any total solar eclipse that's ever occurred, has there been more information spread around about a total solar eclipse. And all that, everybody, I don't want to say, well, I will, they come out of the woodwork and everybody's an expert and they want to be, there's so much information to know and a small time to learn it. And it just, if you get into that rabbit hole, it just keeps getting more complex. And people are like, hey, why doesn't the moon, why don't we have an eclipse every month? Well, we could do an entire class on that.
There are entire classes. Heather teaches them.
Yeah. Yeah. Just why is the moon, why don't we have an eclipse every month?
Yeah.
That's the class.
And that's a good point. Having an eclipse, an event that doesn't happen very often. In fact, I made sure people understood just how rare it was for you to be able to say an eclipse came to me, right? Because I think that was part of the fascination of a solar eclipse. But I think too, though, is that it got people to thinking about something they normally don't think about and making questions on it. I mean, I've never had anyone ask me before, so are we the only planet in the solar system to have solar eclipses? Not until the eclipse here occurred. And then that's when it became a big topic. No one asked me in 2017. No one asked me in October, but suddenly that was a big question. I mean, I was happy to answer it, of course, but that was a question no one even thought about until after seeing the eclipse here. And then for many people, I think that really also to help kind of drill down on this really is an unusual event that we get to watch, that we get to witness and how special that makes it. So very, very teachable.
Teachable, love it. Yeah.
And I would say not just of, the stars or of astronomy, but science.
Yes.
And living in a world that we live in today where people want to believe that science isn't real. To have science come to your door and go, dude, I'm real. Here I am. See?
Yeah.
I can only hope that it helped maybe restore a little bit of faith in the field of science, all fields of science, because I think that science is as an entire field. Again, I'm including all of them. I think we've taken a real hit in the past 5, 6, 7, 8 years.
Yeah, well,
and I'm not sure.
You got to have skepticism. Without skepticism, there is no science. That's the whole. That's the whole point. That we test, continually testing.
But that's just it. The skepticism is important. But there's a difference between skepticism and just outright denial.
Yeah.
There's a lot, and there's a lot of denial about science. It's Never mind. I'm not going to go into that subject.
Yeah,
because I want to go back to my original question.
You're taking a hit.
I want to go back to my original questions. So this was your first one.
Yes.
I know you put in so much work on it, but how did it make you feel to finally see it?
There was part of me that was like, finally. That sounds tacky. But at the same time, and I totally appreciate on so many levels how silly this sounds. But there was a part of me that says, honey, you've been an astronomer your entire life and you're just now getting to see a total eclipse. Like as if this should have been on my docket the day before I graduated or something. Would, again, clearly a silly thing to think about. And I've seen 1,000 pictures, of course, of eclipses over the years. And they're nice, they're cool. And so I didn't really know going into it how I was going to react emotionally to it. I was afraid that because at my campus, I'm the one with the microphone in my hand talking to our visitors about, when did you have to use protection? When can you look naked eye? Notice that you're in a shadow in the horizon, everything. I was afraid that I was just going to be one of those people that bust out, in tears and would be sobbing uncontrollably. I was genuinely afraid of that because I'm like, you're still the person in charge. You have a job to do, and for a brief moment, it did start to hit me, but then it immediately went away after the first diamond ring. And I was the one sitting there shouting like I had just won the World Series. And I had to make sure make sure that microphone's far from your mouth because you don't need to.
Mute button.
Yeah.
Mute button.
Exactly. It's like the people around you, they can hear you. They don't need help. So,
That's the beauty. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Everybody has their own reaction. It's
right. And
fantastic.
that was one of the things at that moment. And I recognized that it was happening for me. I started looking around to see what were the other reactions around me. And by and large, the reaction I saw more than anything was just the sheer joy and excitement and everybody's, yay response. I did not notice anybody crying, but I also made a point to make sure that everyone I talked to understood that that was a normal reaction. Because I do feel, I remember talking to one of my colleagues who was on the planning team. He actually drove to the 2017 eclipse and he said it was wonderful. He said, but at the moment of totality, I didn't understand, and I still don't understand why I started sobbing like a baby. And I said, well, you do realize that's a normal response. And he said, oh, it is. Oh, that makes me feel better. I said, yeah, it's totally normal. And when I talked to my husband afterwards, he said he had to kind of hold back because he started feeling himself also kind of well up. And I think it's a normal response that a lot of people, they just don't understand. And because they don't understand that, they're afraid to experience that part of their humanity. And I think it's important just to understand that's normal, because if you understand that, you and anybody who's, there with you, they know that it's okay. It's not like, oh my gosh, what's wrong? What do I need to do to help? This is a natural response. So, I was just one of those people who was, hollering at the top of her lungs and acting like a fool in pure pleasure of watching this amazing event.
I'm welling up hearing you tell that story. I mean, when you talk about it, it just brings back all those great, joyful feelings of elation. And you can access it anytime you want.
Yeah. Yeah. And then we, unfortunately, at our location, all of the campuses had the skies like 5 to 10 minutes prior to totality, if not sooner, just totally clear out. The clouds were gone, except where I was.
Oh.
And unfortunately, I had this cloud. It owes me 3 minutes because the gosh darn thing was one of those really big, fat, thick, juicy clouds. Right? And so we were watching, and you could see there was just the smallest sliver of the sun available, and we were all kind of looking around, going, oh my gosh, it's still as bright as day out here. And there's the smallest sliver of the sun. And then the cloud goes in front. It's like, really? So we barely caught the tail end of the diamond ring. I would really say it was probably more like the Bailey's beads, but there was enough cloud. You really couldn't tell which one you were looking at because the cloud was at that point over it. And it cleared up just enough to let us see the ring go away and totality happen, and gave us about 5 or 10 seconds and then cut us off.
Oh.
And we're all sitting there looking up and kind of twiddling our thumbs going, okay, cloud, you can, any minute now.
Any minute now, yeah.
Yeah. And that was during that kind of lull. That's when I was looking around the horizon, and I made sure to announce to everybody, hey, check out the horizon. You can see it's daylight over there. And then look at your feet and notice how dark it is and realize that you're in the shadow of the moon.
Yeah.
Because I thought that would be kind of a fascinating thing to kind of help, really pull the people's forefront. And then about that time that I finished and everyone, finished looking at that, we looked up again and the sun came back out. The cloud had gotten just thin enough. It wasn't gone, but it was just thin enough that it gave us about 30 seconds of totality before letting us see the diamond ring. And then, of course, wouldn't you know it, 30 seconds after that cloud completely dissipated. Yeah. No, it didn't blow away. No, it was gone.
Yeah.
Because I'm looking going, where did you go? Because I want to give you my fist.
Yeah.
Oh, it does that. It was cool in it. It's eclipse weather. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, of course, as soon as the eclipse was over, there wasn't a cloud in the sky.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
I'm like, seriously? Well, but at least all the other campuses had clear skies, and they got to see all of it in its glory. So that's really good.
That's good. Now, which campus were you at? Richland or Brookhaven?
Yeah, I was at Richland Campus.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, we were really lucky.
I do want to thank you for all your efforts. I know you did a lot of efforts on getting the word out. The Dallas community, the college had, all their campuses with open events. Sadly, one of them was the crazy that was telling people wrong information.
Yeah, well, one person who showed up, but again, it was not a person from our campus. It was a person who was from public, but you get what you get. Yeah, we had a lot of people who were there from all over. We had at my campus, not only do we have people from outside of Dallas-Fort Worth, like we had Houston, I know, and I think we had a few people from Hill Country that might have been at my campus. But I also know that we had one family, I think it was, who was from England, who flew over for the event. One family I talked to, I just started talking to him, no reason, just, you're in front of me, let me chat and be kind. And I'm guessing that they have since moved based upon the fact that it didn't show up in the QR code that we asked people to sign or to sign, because we just didn't. We weren't getting any personal information other than what zip code are you coming from, because we wanted to be able to have a decent count of who was there and an idea of where people were coming from, just, for statistics, for our own self, I guess you could say, curiosity. But so I'm assuming that maybe they have moved to Dallas, but when I asked them where they were from, they said they were from, I want to say it was Ethiopia.
Wow.
And it was a father, a mother, and their, I think, 8-month-old child with them. It was amazing to just chat with them. And then we also had a gentleman who was in from Italy who flew here just for the eclipse. And he actually did with his cell phone, a quick video during Totality where he was talking about it and then uploaded it to his town's news area or news site.
Cool.
About the eclipse with him over here in Dallas. So that was really neat to have that kind of international flavor as well as other states in the union. That was really neat.
That's
Totality Talks is brought to you by TexasSolarEclipses.com, where you can get the book Texas Solar Eclipses. Learn about solar eclipse safety, the total solar eclipse in Texas of 1878, how technology influences our experience, and citizen eclipse science then and now. That's TexasSolarEclipses.com. Click the link down below.
Maybe we should go through the quick intro.
a quick
intro part. Yeah. Just give us a little quick rundown.
So I'm an astrophysicist and I teach astronomy and physics because of that at Dallas College. We have 7 main campuses. I'm at Richland. Our other campuses, let's see if I can remember them all without forgetting one. There's Brookhaven, Cedar Valley, El Centro, Eastfield, Mountain View, North Lake. Oh, I'm forgetting one. Richland.
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 That's all 7. That's 7.
Is that, did I count? Okay, maybe I miscounted then. I hope I miscounted.
Leticia was counting for you.
Oh, good. But yeah, so that's our 7 campuses. And yeah, we had viewing at all 7 campuses. We welcomed the public to all 7 campuses. Considering the fact that the weather was forecast to be not the best for us, as far as the clouds was concerned, we still had over 7,000 people on our campuses. Combined. Wow. So at Dallas College, we hosted over 8,000, or we hosted over 8,000 people. Which I was really happy about. I know a lot of people who were living here, if they were really wanting to see the total eclipse, many of them got in their car that morning and drove to Arkansas. Yep. Because it was kind of the closest you could get that had the better forecast cloud-wise. Yep. And I kind of figured we'd have some coming up to replace them from the counties down south because like Austin, San Antonio, Hill Country, they'd had a week solid of forecast that just wasn't changing. They were being told, you're going to not see a thing because of the clouds, totally obscuring it. We did have some that came up, definitely. but we didn't have as many as I expected. And I don't know if that's because a lot of people kind of threw their hands up and said, it's going to be traffic. I don't want to deal with it. I'd rather just stay here and miss it than get in a car and still miss it. And that's possible. It's totally possible. So we didn't have as many as I had initially expected. Also, we had a lot of faculty who chose to cancel classes. Even like their 8 o'clock a.m. classes, they would cancel because they were concerned about traffic. They didn't want their students to be trying to drive to class with all this eclipse traffic and make it to campus an hour late.
Yeah.
You just missed 3/4 of class, Yeah. So out of concern for the students, they chose to cancel class. And so there weren't even as many students on campus as we would normally have. So that also kind of lowered our numbers a little bit. I would say a lot. But be that as it may, it was still, all things considered, I'm really happy with 8,000 people. And that didn't exactly include all of the volunteers. So,
yeah. Well, I think you guys did a great job. And like I said, I really appreciate all the efforts that Dallas Community College and Frontiers of Flight Museum did on getting training teachers. Because that was one of the things I'd heard, like in San Antonio, is that there wasn't a certified training session for the teachers. And then I came up here and you guys had it covered. I'm like, okay, I can quit looking at that one.
Yeah, because that was one of the things. So in 2017, the American Astronomical Society had their winter meeting in Grapevine. And since it was here in my backyard, I got to go. And they were talking about the upcoming 2017 total solar eclipse, the Great American Eclipse, which for us was a partial. And, I'm embarrassed to say it, but I kind of didn't know that we had one coming. But then again, I had a lot kind of on my plate at that point. I'll just leave it at that. And so at that, I said, okay, well, I'm going to have to start going to these training sessions. I need to get myself trained up. I need to know what to expect and what I can do to support my community. And so I actually began my training for this eclipse back in January of 2017, because that's when I began going to training for the eclipse with the AAS. And then 2 years ago, I put my team together for Dallas College for what we were going to plan to do. And the first thing we did was we did the 2-day training workshop from the American Astronomical Society. I'm a member, and that's how I knew it was happening. And because we were coming out of lockdown, even though we were doing classes face-to-face, the training session was virtual, which actually worked out perfect for us being professors. So we were able to make sure that we attended everything. And we had, every time we do breakout sessions, we would have 2 faculty in each session. Good. So that we made sure to get all the information that we thought we might need. And so that really, really helped us out a lot, just kind of having that feedback of, what did they do in 2017? How did that go? Did it go well? Did it go poorly? What were things they didn't think about? All those kinds of things. And I remember somehow I got to thinking, we got to make sure the kids know. We got to make sure the teachers know. Because if we make sure the teachers know, they'll teach the kids. The kids will bring that information home to mom and dad. And how many more people do we reach in our community that way? Yeah. So for me, it was really about just serving the community and making sure everyone got to enjoy this amazing event, as opposed to choosing to shut their doors because they don't know any better and they're afraid.
Yeah. And that's what I was trying to avoid. That's what I was trying to avoid. That's what I was trying to get the word out.
And I was surprised about within 3 weeks prior to the eclipse, I learned that UT Arlington and UT Dallas both had done some kind of teacher training sessions, which I never knew about. I don't know how many they did. I don't know how many teachers they had. So we weren't the only ones doing it, but that's good. I mean, that is good. It's no such thing as in my opinion, as competition in that situation. It was all for the betterment of our community. So everyone got ahead on that. So
that's good. That's good. Well, I'm glad you had such a great event. Chris, any other questions?
Well, they say when you see your first one, you should really just not focus on anything else. But as an astrophysicist, I'm sure you had some type of experiments going on. So tell us a little bit about what you had going on there.
I did not have any experiments going on as much as I would have loved to. Quite frankly, I had so much to juggle with just planning out all these sessions going on simultaneously at 7 different locations across our campuses. And each campus is, of course, not only unique in the way it's built, but in its local culture that it's in, as well as the campus culture and things that they're having to deal with, construction or whatnot. And so I had literally so much of that going on. I was not able to do any kind of experimentation. In fact, I think it was like a couple of days before the eclipse, I had heard, I don't remember where, but someone had said, if this is your first eclipse, focus on the eclipse. View it with your eyes. Don't do anything else. Yep. You can do your photography or your filming, whatever, on your second eclipse. And I'm like, okay, that's what I'm going to do. And so, like, there were some things that I wanted to record that I didn't, unfortunately. I tried to take 2 quick snaps, photographs with my cell phone of the eclipse, and I didn't even like do any settings. I was just like, let's hope this works.
Well, you're okay. Welcome. You're welcome to go to my Facebook page and pull them off of my husband's. My husband put photos up. You're welcome to pull those down. And somebody asked me, I want to copy.
Somebody else will have them for you. Yeah,
exactly. And I've had several people do that.
Yeah, but it is nothing like your own. There's nothing like having your own that you snap, nothing even like how blurry it might be. Yeah.
Right. The one thing I will say, though, that just, I think, dumbfounded me. Actually, the 2 things that I was totally dumbfounded over, and I don't know how else to put it except dumbfounded. I mean, it wasn't just like full of awe, but I was like struck stupid. First was how fast it got dark. And then how fast the light came back. Like I said, the sliver of the sun, and it was still daylight. I couldn't believe it. The other thing was looking up at Totality and seeing with my own naked eye a solar prominence on the sun. And then noticing there wasn't just one, there was at least 2 or 3. I'm like, oh my gosh. And I'm like, I can see this with my own eyes. I don't have to wait for Soho to snap a photo for me. It was just, I was just, like I said, I mean, awestruck doesn't even get it. I was just dumbfounded. I was just like, oh my gosh. And I'm sure anybody around me was just like, what is wrong with her? But that's just it.
Oh, she gets it. That's what's going on.
You're getting it, though. That's just it. Exactly. That's what it is for me. And I've seen, that was my 21st.
Right.
That was my 21st. You're seeing action of the sun in those prominences. And those prominences are like multiple Earth diameters tall, shooting out from behind the moon. And it's just this amazing view that I get to see.
Yes.
Every single time. I get to see something amazing, which is why that was my 21st.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's why Chris is now, what are you now up to?
That was my 6th one. And 2017 was my first total. Even though my first partial was in 79. I'm like, no big deal.
Right.
And then 2017, it's like, after that, it's like, I will not miss. I don't care where. I will not miss. If I can still get there and walk and travel, I'm there. I don't care. And so I'll keep going. But that was a good one.
Yeah.
But I had to work extra hard, but
I did too.
But it happened. And I'm so glad that we got lucky holes for most people.
Most of Texas got lucky holes.
Yeah.
Most of Texas. Chris was one of those that ran for another city. He abandoned Texas completely.
I left Texas. I was in Kerrville, and it was so bad. And Leticia and I are texting back and forth, checking the Windy app and checking out all these other cloud apps. And it's like, okay, here's what it's getting worse. It's getting worse. It's getting worse. And so I went to Indianapolis and hung out at the airport.
There you go. I did hear about a family who had flown here from Germany. They flew to DFW, had saw the reports, the weather forecast. And then I don't know if they flew or if they drove. But I want to say they made a pit stop in Indianapolis or something like that. But they ended up going, I think, all the way to Maine because they wanted clear skies. And I'm like, but quite frankly, I can't blame them. I mean, they spent a lot of money just to get here.
Yeah.
You know,
No, I
so
don't blame them
I
either.
totally understand them bailing. I mean, because
Yeah.
it didn't look that great for us.
Yeah.
It really pleasantly worked out. I understand a lot of the places in the hill country in San Antonio even got breaks in the clouds and were able to see the eclipse. So that was good. Because I know, was it Kerrville, I think, had the whole 3 or 4 day music festival that was centered around the eclipse, which I thought was a fabulous idea.
Yep.
And then to have it, you know, clouded out was kind of a real big bummer.
I left that festival.
Yeah.
I was, that's the festival I left. Yeah. I'm like, you're packing down your gear? I'm like, yep, it's been fun. See ya. And like, I'm not upsetting anybody. My friends didn't make it down. And so I kind of had this RV to myself. I'm like, all right, I'm packing. I had 7 rigs.
He planned out.
Had all kinds of experiments, temperature experiments, and audio, audio recorders, and just all this gear. And I had to pack it all down and go back to the international road kit and go airporting for 40 hours. And
my brother-in-law came in from LA, and he woke up that morning. He was going to come down to Hillsborough with me, and we got a text from him. We go, where are they? And then we get a text from him, we're heading for Arkansas. They're one of those people that ran for Arkansas. They made as far as they got clear skies in Oklahoma.
Oh, okay. Well, good.
So they got to Oklahoma and they got clear skies.
Yeah. I know one of the things that, so as I said, it was in 2017 that I went to my first training for Eclipse. And that was the first time that I met Jay Paskachov. And I want to say, was he at 34 already? Or maybe he was only at 30 at that point. I forget what number he was
probably
at.
30 at that point.
Yeah.
36. 36.
He got to 36, I think. Yeah. So yeah, I think he was probably around 30 at that point, and he was one of the people who had spoken. I don't remember who else was there. I remember Jay because when I was a teenager, I got one of the books that he wrote. And so I was like, oh my God, this guy, I know this person. Anyway.
Yeah.
So then hearing that he'd been to 30 of these, I'm like, first of all, he's an astronomer. Like he's got his actual
36.
PhD.
Yeah.
And he's been to 30 of them. So clearly there's something kind of special going on here. So a lot of times when people would say, dude, it's just an eclipse. I mean, we just had one in October. I'm like, yeah, but people don't spend their hard-earned money to go see a partial eclipse. When it comes to a total, I've met people, and I really have met several people who have seen, 10, 15, 20, 30 eclipses, and they're going back to see more. I'm like, why are they spending so much money if it's a nothing burger? And people be like, wait, what? I'm like, exactly. And then you asked about experiments, and I was just thinking about this. So even though I did not do any experiments, a couple of my colleagues at Richland, they were actually able to do some experiments with their students. One was biologically based type experiments. I don't remember what all they were doing. There was like several they had going on. And another one of my colleagues, it was in geology, environmental science. So I think one of the things they were doing was not only temperature changes, but also air quality fluctuations to see how the eclipse would affect the air quality. And some other different experiments that they had going on. Because I was the chairperson and I had so much going on, I'm like, I would love to, I support you guys and I would love to be part of this, but there's physically only one of me and I can't do it. So I kind of stepped back and let them take the reins on that. And I was thankful they did it because to me, it was all the more, this isn't a teachable moment, since kind of bringing that back around on how we can use this real life situation that's occurring to help us teach what we are already teaching. So that was really cool. So we did have some experiments going on at our different campuses.
That's cool. Good. That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. That was the one thing for this eclipse that really made it super special for me was all the stuff that I did for the citizen science stuff. Because all my 4 teams in North Texas got data.
Good.
So the training worked for them. They were dedicated to learn, and they all got data. And they all from my sites were 5, 6, 7, and 8, and they all had clear skies, or at least for part of it. They got data for part of it. So.
Excellent.
Just having some data. Yeah. So next time, that'll be you.
Right.
You'll be like, all I want is data. I've
Right?
seen it before.
Give me the data.
You'll have 8 teams out there spread out.
August
Yeah,
12th.
across Spain, Greenland, Iceland, Spain.
Yeah.
You know,
August 12th, 2026 is the next one. School won't have
27
started
plus
yet.
months.
Yep.
School won't have started yet, so let's see if you're going to make it out to Spain or Greenland or
Right.
Iceland with the rest of us crazies.
Hey, that's an easy one. It's an easy one.
It's an
Just
easy
Right.
zip over to Spain. Like that. Yeah.
Right. I thought it was hilarious when I learned that Spain's going to have 3 different eclipses in, 3 years? And none of them
Yeah.
are going to Barcelona. I'm like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah, that's because 2027 goes over Gibraltar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, and then what's the next one? 30. 26, 27 is back to
26 and 27 are
Yeah.
back to back.
So then maybe it was 29.
There's
It
not
was.
20.
Let's see. Australia, let's pull it up. Tunisia,
Right.
I'm getting my globe.
Egypt, Red Sea. Yeah, I'm getting my globe too. What's that? All right.
This is what we use for our planning.
Whole life plan
There you
right
go.
here. Yeah. That's not it. Spain. Oh. I don't know which 2027. Yeah, it says 2053. So 26 and 27 back to back.
53. Okay.
Yeah, 2053.
And then the next
is
one,
the next
53.
Yeah, 2053. So this one is actually the 2027 one is going to be okay, you're the astrophysicist, so you know Saros. So you know Saros.
Oh, yeah. There's. Oh, I thought you said
Okay.
something else. Yeah.
Saros. So
Yeah.
this will be my third Saros of the 1991.
Oh, wow.
It was the 1991. I saw it again. I saw the same Saros in 2009. And so this will be my third Saros.
Wow.
But is that your
That one.
third Saros?
No, that's my first third Saros.
It'll be your first
third Saros.
Exelignos or whatever it might be.
It'll be my first
Triple
third
Saros.
Saros. Yeah.
Yeah. That's cool.
And the one in 2045 is going to be this one too.
Forget.
That's
pretty
the
sure-
only thing missing from the globe is the Saros number.
Right.
I know. I should pencil that in.
Upgrade.
There's an opportunity to upgrade the globe
Upgrade.
right there.
Hey, Sky
Upgrade.
Telescope. Let's get it together. We'll talk to Rick.
Yeah, we'll talk to Rick. Okay.
So August 12th of 2026 goes
Yes.
through northern Spain. And then January of 2028 goes through like the southern half. And then August 2nd of 2027. So it is 3 years back to back.
So where's
So
the
is the-
2028? I'm missing
Is that
the
an annular?
2028.
Is that
it
an
must
annular?
be an annular. That's why
It's an
not on
annular.
here.
Yes, it's
Gotcha.
annular.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, 28's annular. Yeah.
This is
Okay.
the purest globe.
The totality.
Totality
Totality.
globe. That's right.
I might do an annular for Spain again in 2028. That would be
That's
that would be a
an
nice,
easy one.
That's an easy one.
Yeah. I'm going to the annular this fall.
He's going to Easter Island for the annular.
Oh,
Knocking
nice.
that out.
I
Yeah.
know.
It's a bucket lister.
Right?
I've been wanting to go there forever. And it's like, well,
There.
You're saying bucket list reminded me, one of my colleagues I had talked to afterwards, and his comment was, yeah, so I did not know that I needed to see an eclipse. He goes, but it is now on my bucket list and checked off.
those are the best ones. You
Right.
find out it's on your bucket list after you've done it.
And
Right.
you've done it. Been there, done that. Well, hopefully it's a been there, done that. I want to do it again.
And do it again.
Yeah. My husband and I were both like, that was fun. We need to do another one.
Yeah.
So we had floated around the idea a little bit about maybe going to the one in Egypt, because it's like 98% chance of clear skies.
Yeah.
And you get to see the pyramid. It's like, hello?
Yeah.
But yeah.
That's
Yeah,
super long eclipse. And
Yeah,
just,
I'm looking
6
for it.
minutes. I'm like, holy cow.
yeah, what do you do? You know?
Oh, it's a long one. It's a long.
Do
Oh
you
my god, I'm
matches?
getting bored. Wish I didn't. All eclipses are 30 seconds to me, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah. No matter what. Yeah.
Well,
matter what.
after the last one where that cloud owes me 3 minutes.
Yeah.
6 minutes is forever.
You'll get three of those minutes back.
Exactly.
Yeah. No, I'm really looking forward to that because I saw the Cairo Museum back in 2006, and they've redone it I'm really looking forward to see what they did, because actually the museum that I went to in Luxor was the one that I really liked a lot, because it was just beautiful displays, very well explained. I mean, it was like walking into a history book.
Yep.
And I'm looking forward to seeing the Cairo Museum with all the upgrades they've done to it. I'm really
They're
looking
getting
forward
much
to that
better
one.
at that. Yeah. And I think they built there's a new museum right at the Great Pyramid now that they've been working on for years. And so I think that's finally open.
I'm looking forward to seeing that.
Yeah.
Cool.
I'm looking forward to seeing that. And I'm looking forward to being at Luxor and seeing Ra resurrected, or whatever is supposed to happen, according to all my crazy friend people.
Right.
I'm considering the Siwa Oasis itinerary.
The Siwak Oasis.
I've already, the Siwa Oasis, yeah, it's like over towards the Libyan border. I've already done the Nile cruise.
Okay.
And it's like, all those places, it's like I've been to every single one of those places. It's like, but haven't been to Alexandria, haven't been to Siwa Oasis. So it's a tough call. At least we've got 3.5 years to figure it out.
Well, I would do Alexandria again. I loved Alexandria.
Yeah,
I loved Alexandria.
See,
I would love Alexandria again. I'm gonna try to make it a super long trip and do some side trips for myself. But that Siwak Oasis, what is that, like a camel ride over to it or anything interesting?
They bus you out there. But what's interesting is they have the Oasis. It's a metropolitan city around an oasis in the desert, in the Sahara, that's below sea level. And so it's kind of below the water table. And so, but it's only 5 minutes and 40 seconds there only.
Only.
Yeah. And if you want to go to the center line, you could go to the center line, but it's like a, 4-wheeler in the desert, nothing but sand. And it's 6 minutes and 20 seconds or something. So,
okay.
Yeah. I don't know. We got time, but
I don't know. We got time to decide.
Yeah. If I really want to push it that far, just to be in a desert.
Fine.
I am going to try for a picture this time. We got 6 minutes, right? I am going to try for a picture this time. And I'm hoping that we're somewhere where there's like ruins or something where I can get that shot of the eclipse from some kind of ancient ruin.
Geez,
that's what I want to do.
You get Karnak, and those things are 100
I know,
foot tall.
that's what I love.
Yeah.
I would love to do it from Karnak. We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see where Astro Trails puts us.
Yeah.
There you go.
They'll put
I'm
you
going
right
with
there.
Astro. Yeah, I'm planning on seeing, and I'm taking my husband, the photographer. So we'll see what we come up with.
Very
Well,
cool.
you better start getting your plans now. Yeah, the people are on
I
top
know.
of they are new eclipse chasers, just like yourself. Ready? They're like, okay, where do I give my money?
I know.
Take my money.
I've been looking at Airbnbs in Spain. I know like 10,000 other people are looking at the same Airbnb. So.
Yeah, I know that one woman came up to me. I think it was at the eclipse, and she was saying, "Oh yeah, I've already got plans for the one in Egypt. I'm going to go with this trip that's put together by a bunch of astronomers." And she told me the name and everything. And she goes, "You should look into it." She goes, "Oh, wait a minute, no, you can't. They already sold out."
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
I'm like, wow, it's 3 years out and they're already sold out, but it makes sense, So
yeah, that's my Astro Trail tours is probably one of the ones that I'm going on to. But ours is
something that I just thought about. So in watching the eclipse, one of the other things that kind of caught me or got my attention about the eclipse, with all of the political strife and cultural strife we've got going on in our country right now, it was so refreshing to be at an event caused by Mother Nature. And you had all these people from all these backgrounds represented, and everybody was there peacefully in total awe and excitement of this natural event. And not once did anyone pull, any kind of, politics or culture or, something else for reason for me to be mad at you or whatever. Right. It was like all of that melted away, all of that extra stuff. Right. We were all just focused on the eclipse, and it was really a neat kind of, I don't want to call it a kumbaya moment, but a moment where people were able to get together and celebrate something as humanity and not as siloed groups,
tribes,
right?
Yeah. Not as a tribe, not as a tribe.
Exactly.
Tribe. Yeah,
we're all human beings at that moment, and we're all at the mercy of that burning ball of fire.
That's right.
Yeah,
and it can go out at any moment. And when it does, we're all
We're all in it together.
In the same boat. On the
That's
same
right.
spaceship. Yeah.
Same spaceship.
But it was truly nice that entire day. Like that was the focus. And it was so nice to get away from that tribalism for 24 hours, you know?
Yeah.
It was great.
That's one of the reasons I love it, because it is a global hobby. I mean, I do have to, when I plan my trips, I do have to take a look at the local politics for safety reasons.
Yep.
But, the main one is it in the path? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
What's the weather? Oh,
yeah.
Now let's see, where is
Geopolitics.
it? What's the geopolitical thing going on that I need to not worry about or worry about or avoid? But, it's number 3 on the list. Number 1, are you in the path? And the community is like that. That's one of the reasons that I really love the eclipse community, because it is international, and we're not having that strife. Yeah. That's one of the reasons I love the community.
Yeah. Some of the most joyful, happy people you can meet. Even when they're all like a little bit uptight and kind of nerdy science people or something, it's like eventually you're going to find that same joyful, happy person that's hopping around looking for the next moment of cosmic bliss.
Yeah.
As David Barron puts it.
Yes. I love his writing.
Oh, yeah. Great. I've been embellishing it a lot. I use it but I'll say, hey, and David Barron said that, by the way.
Well, I quote him and Kate. Because I use Kate's tagline all the time. I just gave up. I just gave up. She nailed it with the eclipse above you, around you, and within you. And that, I've been quoting her, as Kate Russo says.
Yeah.
Above you, around you, within you. Thank you so much for your time. I thought it was going to be just like 10 or 15 minutes, but we just had so much time interviewing you. So thank you.
Now, wait a minute. How much time did we spend together? You saw how much I could talk.
Oh, that's true.
All righty.
All right. Thank you so much for your time, Heather.
You're welcome. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, thank you. Great to meet you. Yeah. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Nice to meet you. Bye.
Well, that's it for this episode of Totality Talks. Hope you enjoyed the insight and all the laughs with Heather. In our next episode, we chat with more eclipse observers about the April 8th event. We're going to keep going with episodes as more great stories keep coming our way. As always, clear skies